Welcome back to the archives, traveler. There is a truth the Meridian learned long ago. Victory is not the end, it is the invitation. When you kill a sovereign, you do not earn peace, you earn attention. The walk back should have been triumphant. The quartet moved through land that had not seen sunlight in decades. Voragath's curse was broken. The sky above was blue, clear, warm. Iron Cove was visible in the distance. The siege was over. Lore carried Solmara's tear. Its golden light glowed bright and steady. The quartet was tired, bloodied but alive. And then the sun went dark. Instant, as if something vast had passed between the meridian and the light. The air grew cold, and from above came a sound. Wings, massive, leathery, beating the air with impossible weight. A shadow crossed the land. A Void Wyvern, larger than the rocks that had carried them to Iron Cove. Scales black as obsidian, eyes burning purple, wings blotting out the sun. Riding it was a figure, armored, hooded, cloaked in shadow that moved like smoke. In its hand, a blade that consumed light. The wyvern descended and landed 50 meters ahead. The ground trembled, and from the ruined land, demons emerged, organized, armored, soldiers. They surrounded the quartet, hundreds, weapons drawn, but they did not attack. They waited. The figure dismounted and walked forward. It spoke. "So, you are the ones who defeated Voragath and Malzareth before him." The voice was cold, measured. The figure raised its blade and pointed it at the brothers. The blade swung down. The demons charged. Lore raised Solmara's tear. The golden light flared. The first wave of demons screamed. The purification was instant. The light unmade them. Bodies dissolved into ash. The shadow recoiled. Its cloak writhed. Smoke hissed where the light touched, but it did not fall. It raised its blade. The second wave attacked. Lore raised the tear again. The light was dimmer now, struggling. The second purification cleared another wave. The shadow stumbled back, armor scorched, but still it did not flee. It understood the light was fading. The third wave surged forward. Lore lifted Solmara's tear one final time. The light pulsed, weak, flickering. The third purification cleared the circle. The shadow screamed, its cloak shredding, and then Solmara's tear went dark. The golden glow extinguished, empty, drained, dead. The shadow straightened, smoke curled from its wounds, and now the light was gone. It raised its blade and walked forward. The brothers drew their weapons. Tharok shifted his shield. Valerie knocked an arrow. The shadow stopped 5 meters away, raised its blade, and then the sky opened. It was light, pure, absolute, radiant beyond comprehension. A beam of celestial energy struck the ground between the quartet and the shadow. The impact was soundless. The effect was instantaneous. Every demon within 100 meters incinerated. Their bodies flashed into light and vanished. The shadow threw itself backward. Its wyvern shrieked and launched into the air, fleeing. Within seconds, it was gone. The light faded. The quartet stood in silence. Around them was nothing, just scorched earth and the faint smell of ozone. No one spoke, because none of them knew what had just happened. The quartet turned and continued toward Iron Cove. Behind them, the sun returned. Iron Cove welcomed them as heroes. The gates opened. The streets were lined with people. They cheered. They wept. They reached out to touch the quartet as they passed. Magnus Ironforge waited at the central square. Beside him stood Bianca, whole, healthy, smiling. Magnus clasped each of their hands. A blacksmith's gratitude is given in work. He led them to his workshop. Magnus laid out their equipment. He pointed to the brothers' gauntlets, the twin aegis of Lumora. He explained, when they killed Voragath, they stood in the presence of a sovereign's death. The miasma saturated the chamber. The gauntlets fed. The brothers had not noticed, but the relics were charged. When needed, they would wake. Magnus turned to Solmara's tear, empty, but he could fix that. He looked at Valerie, then at Tharok. The relics were never meant to be carried. They were meant to be wielded. Over the next hours, Magnus worked. When he finished, Valerie's bow shimmered with golden light. Solmara's tear had been integrated into the frame. Every arrow she drew would carry its purification. And Tharok's glaive burned with cold blue fire. Uriel's verdict had been bound to the blade. Every strike would carry its judgment. Magnus stepped back, nodded. Bianca approached. She held a small leather pouch, worn, carefully tied. She handed it to Callister. She told them they would know when to use it. A simple thanks for bringing her husband peace. The quartet accepted the gift. The archives note this moment not for its triumph, but for its unease. Iron Cove was saved. 2 sovereigns had fallen. The siege was broken. But the shadow on the Wyvern had known their names. It had waited for them, and something divine had intervened to save them. The quartet did not understand what had happened when the light struck the earth, but they knew one thing with certainty. They were no longer hunting in secret. They had been seen. The archives are now closed.